We'll now move on to, breaking down statistics into certain channels or ways in which we'll try and learn it. So there are two broad areas inside statistics. There's one which is descriptive statistics, and there's another which is inferential statistics. We'll stop at this point and we'll move over to a question now. But before we do that, we'll just very quickly in short try and understand what descriptive and inferential is. We'll not talk about population and sample at this point. Now, what is descriptive? We've already talked about. Descriptive statistics is basically looking at what has happened historically and trying to make sense out of it, trying to understand why certain things have happened the way that they did. Those kinds of questions, if you're trying to answer, those are mostly descriptive questions. So why, where the sales were down, where the sales were up, or where the inventory was lost, where there was surplus inventory that led to wastage. So those kinds of questions, historical data you're looking at, and trying to understand the why and the how and the where and the who, those kinds of questions if you're trying to sort of answer, that is descriptive statistics. Inferential statistics is another branch of statistics that allows you to study history and be able to be ready for what's going to happen in the future. So based on what you understood from the history, you come to a stage where you're able to predict for the future, which means that you've looked at, let's say, a percentage of the population. You've tried to understand what happens to that percentage. And then using that knowledge, you are able to, comment something about a larger group. And that's where the idea of population and a sample come in. Let's say, I'll give you a small example of where inferential statistics is going to come off as useful. What do you want to ask? Okay, let's say simple question that you want to change something. Let's say the NCERT has decided to do boards in 8th again, and they want to say, let's say the current curriculum for NCERT or the current curriculum for CBSE 8th standard kids is, say, a certain set of 12 or 13 chapters in science. And now the government wants to do a modification. It wants to add 5 more chapters to it, to the 8th standard syllabus. And before it does that, it decides to, just try and get a sense of what the students think about this. Or forget, if not the students, then what teachers at that level are thinking about this in the country. How do you go about solving this? How do you go about, getting an answer to this question? The government wants to know, or the board wants to know, that what is it that teachers who are teaching 8th graders currently think about the new proposition that they've come up with. How do you get to that idea?
Rahul, what exactly is the question? I mean,
the question is that you had, let's say, 12 chapters in science for 8th graders up to this point, and suddenly you've decided to add 5 more chapters to it, to the 8th standard syllabus. And before you make that change, NCERT wants to get a sense of what teachers think about it. Teachers who are teaching in 8th grade across the country. What teachers think about it.
They will approach probably few schools and get a like a survey kind of sort filled up and collect the data.
And you collect the data for what group of people? All teachers inside India?
No, that's what, like few schools, like, different geographics. Like, for example, since it's a CBSE, like north, south, east, and central zone, some zoning.
True.
Right? And further drill down into some top schools and bottom schools, like in terms of the student population and so on and so forth. Get a feel for it. Right.
Yes. So this whole thing that you said is the statistical idea of sampling.
Right. Okay.
So statistics, this is a common sense intuition that you have, that this is how I'm going to do this, because this is a very large set of people. Possibly I can't go and survey all these people. That's an impossible task. If I try and take that up, I'm never going to get an answer to that question, which means that I want to survey a restricted group of people. But how do I choose that restricted group? I do that smartly. I go to different regions. Maybe I pick different levels of schools. Some what do you call it, public schools, some private schools. You do that distinction across schools, across places, across how they are run and all that, and then you create a sample, and we call that a sample. And this whole process is called a sampling technique. There are a few slides on sampling later on. We'll discuss that as well, the ways in which sampling is done effectively. But this whole idea tells you that you've got to infer about a very large population. You've got to make a conclusive answer to a question that refers to maybe 8 lakh, 10 lakh teachers in the country. You can't possibly reach out to all of them, which means that what you will do is you will work on a sample. You will gather data on a smaller sample and try and then extrapolate that analysis for the entire population. Now, the field of statistics that allows you to do this is inferential statistics. It will allow you to draw a smart sample and then do an analysis on that sample, which can be extrapolated to the population. Now, this is not something that you can just do with a swing of your head. It's not like, okay, I decided, okay, this is a good enough sample. Now I'm going to say that whatever happens for the sample happens for the population as well. This is not as simple as it seems. There are statistical frameworks that allow you to do it in a systematic, simplified way. But this idea is the idea of inferential statistics. When you're using you're looking at a smaller fraction of the total population to understand something about a much larger population. All right, I think there are a few chat messages. Let me just look at it.
Hey, Rahul.
Yes.
How confident can we be on the sampling?
That's another part of statistics that tells you about confidence intervals. How confident you are about what you are saying. Any inference that you draw out of a sample, when you extrapolate that to a population, you extrapolate that saying that I am 90% confident that this is going to work for the population.
Okay, because there can be end cases that...
True. Absolutely. See, again, this is a common sense idea, which is a statistical principle called confidence intervals. This is what I'm going to prove all along, that whatever we read in statistics, you already know. You just don't know the terms for it. And you haven't treated it as a statistical idea. You anyways are knowing that, okay, common sense yahi batata hai. That's what common sense tells me. All right. Satish says, descriptive statistics. Can you please give one example on how stats help address why part of any instance? See, the why part of the instance could be, so let's say you're thinking about, okay, let's say, let me go to my whiteboard.
I mean, so for example, I mean, in the past century, people used to get less vaccinated, or mortality rates were really high.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, people never used to go for a vaccination. So percentage, if I take out the data for past century, I would see, on an average, say, I mean, just making up. So 30% of the children used to get vaccinated.
True.
In today's world, it's like 99 or 100%.
Yeah, almost 100%. Yes.
So why it was 30%? I don't know how stats is going to help us. Stats will only present as the data. You'll say, okay, 30%.
Stats will tell us this was happening.
Yeah.
But why this was happening was because, at that time, there's so many factors. It'll help you realize what those factors
Yeah,
were.
I mean,
very early, maybe.
Okay.
Very early stage, people hadn't developed the confidence on those vaccines. Several vaccines had adverse impacts on people as well, because those vaccines weren't as refined as what you have right now.
Yeah.
So there were several things, the level of medicine being much lower, progress in medicine being much lower at that point, you could have severely bad impacts as a result of those, vaccines and all.
Yeah.
That is why people did not have enough trust. Also, distribution of knowledge. That was a major problem, no? Communication gap. You know that you've created a vaccine, but how do you tell everyone? People are living in villages, people are far off, they have their own small secluded ecosystems in which they function. Getting to that ecosystem was almost impossible.
Yeah, I mean, we get the number 30%, but why is it so? It's again a matter of investigation.
Yes. That will always be a matter of investigation, and that is what statisticians were paid for, to ask those right questions. The statistician does not give you 5 options and tells you why you did not choose were these because of these 5 options. Then you never know the answer to that question.
Okay, then again you go and do sampling.
Yes, because the question was easy. Because we are producing vaccines, we knew that people are not using it. Now, why people are not using it? Let's say that was the question that they were trying to solve. Then you need to be asking the right questions. If you ask people, why did you not use? So वो नहीं बताएंगे. But you give them 5 options, they'll tick very easily. Right. So that very level of saying that, statisticians knew what to ask, but they had much better ways of what to ask. The same questions can be framed in so many different ways. And in very few of those ways, you can actually elicit a response. Because if you think about most surveys in the country, 90% of surveys that people send out, people don't respond to. Think about yourself. How many surveys have you responded to?
Nobody asked me so far. Yeah.
You've ordered Domino's
Seriously?
pizza? You ordered a pizza from Domino's?
Yeah.
They ask you for a survey every time.
Like a feedback.
Have you responded? Yes.
Yeah. It's
They
a
have a
smiley thing.
survey.
Yeah. If it
We
something
rarely ever respond to that, right?
yeah.
I am
Yeah,
running.
it's-
So I was heading the data science team at Happy, the company I talked about. So after every customer call that happens, so we have Freshchat and Freshdesk integrated. So after every customer service chat that day, so we had our personal call centers, our own call centers. Now, after every call, there was a survey that was going back. 86% of the surveys never saw a response. Those are automated mails that go to people don't even blink an eye and they move on. Yes, so the way you ask your questions is also, that's why getting an NPS score is very difficult. You know what an NPS score is? Net Promoter Score?
Net Promoter Score. Yes.
Yes, so that a Net Promoter Score gives you a sense of how much people are, are going to publicize your product, how much people have liked it actually. It gives you a sense of that. Now, to get an answer to that question is the most difficult bit. Improving and not improving your NPS is a different matter altogether. Getting that Net Promoter Score itself is a very difficult thing to do. How do you ask that question? Where do you ask that question so that people answer? Quite complicated. So that was a different time. That's why definitely you need to have that inquiry. Unless you have that inquiry in that information set that you've captured, you'll not be able to answer it. But to an extent, you'll be able to guess that why iPhones were sold twice the amount that they were sold in the previous month because there was Black Friday sale. You can get to those kinds of answers that you have decent information upon, even if it is not part of that data. You know that this was Thanksgiving weekend or this was Black Friday sale. So that's why there was a electronic sales shot up because there are huge discounts at that time. But those answers you get from descriptive statistics by studying what has happened historically. Okay, the next question is, this sampling concept is relevant to determine if it's a continuation or what? No, different people. This sampling concept is relevant to determine efficacy of a vaccine as well, like COVID-19 vaccine testing. Definitely. And that's how these randomized trials work. You pick people from different races, you pick people with different conditions, pre-existing conditions, you pick people with different kinds of comorbidities, and you then try out these, although the final bit, the percentage that you give a placebo versus the percentage that you give the actual vaccine, that is all randomized. But then choice of people who are part of that trial is done very intelligently. That is very well a sampling concept. Without sampling, you will just, if you just create a group of Caucasians and you give them a vaccine, it works. There's a very good chance that it does not work on African Americans or it does not work on Asians. So, so those kinds of, vaccine trials and all these things, any kind of drug trial that happens, you've got to use strong ideas of sampling to build out such indicative samples that if it works well on the entire sample, then it works well on the population. The population is the whole world, at least in the case of COVID-19. Which is why people are not so aggressive about getting the vaccine at this point. So many people think it's been hurried and all that. So there isn't enough testing has happened. I think our vaccines that we are giving out to our people, we haven't done the phase 3 trial yet. We've not gotten the results of the phase 3 trial at least. The one that we are, the vaccination that's happening in India, that has not finished the phase 3 trials. I think Oxford's or AstraZeneca is already finished. And I think the one that the Pfizer has created, that also has finished the phase 3 trial. Phase 3 is the much larger trial.
Yeah, Covishield hasn't.
Covishield hasn't finished phase 3 trials. The phase 3 trial is going on. It's not finished. The results aren't submitted yet. And we don't have a final answer on phase 3 trials.
I think the other way around, right? Covishield is from Pfizer. Covaxin is Bharat Biotech's, if I'm not mistaken.
So maybe that's a confusion.
No,
One of them is not.
Yeah.
The Oxford one is validated. The phase 3 has happened. The one that we are doing internally, Bharat Biotech, I think, whatever that is. One is by Serum Institute. Serum Institute is doing which one? Covishield.
Both of them are producing both in different, like it's the manufacturing scale up that what India has. So that they are leveraging.
Okay.
But our own research is from Bharat Biotech, and
Bharat Biotech.
that is Covaxin.
Okay, that Covaxin. So Covaxin has not
I
completed.
kind
phase
of linked it to IN standing for India, so COVID vaccine India, so
two. Oh,
Covaxin.
acha.
Yeah. I mean, I might be wrong. I read it somewhere.
No worries, no worries. All right. I think I had opened the notebook for something. I'm losing. What was I trying to do? Oh yeah, we are going to go over to a case. Just a second. Now I want you to think about a question. The question is that all of you are familiar with MG, right? MG. MG Hector was the variant that got introduced into India. I think 1.5 years back or a year back, a little more than a year back. Now MG Hector did not do very well in India. I think the sales weren't as high that they'd expected. Now they have decent bit of success in Europe and some countries, but they did not see that success replicate in the Indian market. Knowing that, they've now come up with the Gloucester series, which is the next version of MG. Now let's say you've gotten hired as a analyst in MG, and your first problem statement is to do all that is necessary to figure out how to ensure the success of Gloucester in the Indian market. Looking at what has happened with Hector. Now, as an analyst, what are the questions that you'll ask yourself? I want you to think about those questions.
First and foremost, think the conflict with the China, what we have, and how do I erase that from the mind of like if you are planning to sell it in India, right? So I mean,
That's
the
important.
odds are stacked against you already.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah.
Now, again, a slight modification to the question is that let's restrict ourselves to ideas that we can work upon.
Nice.
It's fine. It's absolutely fine that you're able to think along those lines. But then let's think like an analyst. Our resources are what MG can do for us. MG can buy us secondary data. That's fine. But MG might probably not be able to shift its manufacturing plant, or it will not be able to do stuff. Those kinds of impacts we cannot manage as an analyst. So let's restrict ourselves to trying to figure out, or at least give nice prescriptions to the company as to how to ensure that the Gloucester succeeds. And then let's think about questions that we can ask ourselves. Spend 5 minutes on this. After 5 minutes, I'll just write down the questions and we'll end today. We'll come back to this tomorrow.
Do we have class tomorrow or?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
Same timing. We are doing a shorter thing for these 2 days. From the next weekend, we'll do the regular slot, 12:30 to 4.
Well, Rahul,
Hmm.
yeah, the first thing comes in Indian mindset is regarding the mileage
Okay.
and the maintenance
Okay.
and the cost.
Now these are
Yeah.
3 things. You've got to choose. You don't necessarily have to just ask one question, but it has to be a question. The question can be, can you improve mileage? No, we can't. That you need to think of. So if you're thinking that mileage is a thing that I need to think of, then you also think one step ahead and think that, can you impact any change there? You can't. You can't change the vehicle. The vehicle is going to be as it is. What is it that you can do that is in your control?
Yeah. One is definitely
Cost.
costing.
Yes, that is in your control.
Yeah.
Service, of course.
Yes,
Yeah,
maintenance
post-sale
schedule.
services.
How do you price? Okay, that's one question.
So how do you improve the service post sale?
Acha. So are we assuming that we've got bad service, or how do we know that there's bad service?
Not about bad service. It's about the cost of servicing and availability of spare parts.
Availability
Like
of
accessibility of service
Cheap.
center. Right?
I mean, what do you?
So I buy it in a city, and let's say I'm residing in outskirts. Can I reach the
Mhm.
service center? Like a benchmark would be against say
Yeah.
Suzuki, right? I can blindly point in any direction and I'll find a Suzuki service center in
True.
10.
That's why we have so many Suzuki cars going around.
Exactly. Yes.
Simplicity of design, basically. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
how easy is it to maintain and repair?
All right, but I need to start getting you thinking like analysts. If you're saying this, then how do you know that this is already a problem? Are you assuming that this is a problem already, or do you know? And that's
This is the problem with, I mean,
you got to forget.
if you look at the overall data, I mean, overall customer surveys, or I mean, the industry average, you will see that most of the customers are, I mean, if you go to consumer forum, you will see most of the complaints are with respect to maintenance and service.
True. So the way you know this is
Yeah.
by looking at customer reviews.
Customer reviews and customer complaints forum, or the data released by
Yes.
the auto industry. I don't know what is that.
So you
authority?
scrape process, right? That's your job as an analyst. If you did not do this, you can't do this just by reading reviews, right? Because that's not going to fly with the, what do you call it? Management. The management will not, you can't go there and say, okay, I've read a lot of reviews and it tells me that your service is bad. You have to prove it to them. How do you prove it? You scrape those reviews and then you process it and create an insight out of it. You show them how that is happening. This is what I mean by saying that you need to think like an analyst. How is it that you're going to bring your point forward? Your point is not going to come off as because you're saying it's right. Take care. So customer reviews you look at to find out what is the purpose, to find what's wrong.
Okay, पूछिए, will open for you 12 or 1 cup खाओगे कल. ठीक है.
Find what's right.
Hmm.
Two things we want to find. We find what's wrong, what's happening which is wrong, and what's happening which is right. Take care. What else?
How
Gap
many,
analysis. Like with
how many people inquired and how many of them got converted?
Great. Inquiries versus conversions.
Yeah.
Good.
And
Should I say
one-
past year sales data?
Mhm.
Rahul, even marketing also comes into picture. Like how do you market well?
Yeah.
Yes.
Along the same lines, advertising and promotional strategies.
Marketing, advertising, promotion. So what are you going to study? The
I
things
thi-
that you did
so
for
at least-
Hector.
One important point what we are missing out here is the
Hmm.
understanding of customer behavior, but for what, in the eyes of customer, what is the value for money,
Yes.
right? So I might be getting Mercedes, it's very valuable product, but I have to spend 35 lakhs.
Correct.
But if I'm getting a product that gives me many features, safety, etc., for the amount I'm looking at, then that's one push for the customers to make. So trying to understand, we need to understand what is the behavior in the Indian market, which will make
Yes.
a customer to look at your product or consider your
Very
product.
good. Understand Indian market.
Yeah.
Can we call it competitor analysis?
Yeah, what competitors offering, how
Yes.
they are faring.
The
well.
ones that are successful, at least in your segment. Let's say you're going into a SUV segment. Then the other SUVs that are doing well, say a Creta or a Kia, what are these companies doing right? What
Yeah.
is it they're doing right? So it's sort of a competitor analysis.
Yes.
Okay. What else? I think Amit had said that somewhere. Other manufacturer competitive models, feature comparison. Good advertising, making everyone know this is the best market in the world. Okay. So we've written that as well. How can they improve this year new launch compared to last year launch? Again, I think we sort of covered it, but let's write this separately as well. How to do a more effective launch. How will we realize? Again, this has all questions added to it. It's sort of, this is an answer that will come out of several information that we've captured, several pieces of information that we are capturing. Historically, what has happened with Hector, what have other successful launches for competitors been like, and then sort of compare and contrast.